Queen James again. Thank you for that awesome performance, her televised debut here. Now, right now, it's some couple that I talked to earlier. They're back with me on the couch now. Now we're going to have great and meaningful conversation with Pastor MJ Sonny and his beautiful wife, Pastor Lady Chris Sonny also.
Yes,
welcome to Atlanta Live.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Excited and honored to speak with you all. Now, we've heard your beautiful voices earlier, and right now we're going to talk about a ministry going on with your church that is timely and always, I would say, probably on time with a lot of people, and that's about the marriage ministry, right? And it's Valentine's Day coming up this upcoming Sunday. So you're talking about love is in the air. You know, Pastor MJ Sonny, what does that mean to a man like you that's a leader in the community and in the church?
Well, first and foremost, it's a special day for me because that is our 20th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
I know I don't look like it.
No, you two do not.
But that is our 20-year anniversary.
Very
first and
nice.
foremost.
Congratulations.
So we're really excited about that.
You should be. 20 years.
Just grateful for that God has brought us such a mighty long way.
Powerful.
Come on. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. And also, it's important that we understand just how critical Valentine's is, you know, to some, especially those who are single and things like that.
Yes.
Our heart goes out to you. Don't press to be with people who are not connected to you or not a part of your life. You don't have to be with somebody this Valentine. God can be your Valentine.
Okay. Wow.
So I just wanted to share that to my singles as we're talking about ministry. But a big part of what we do now is our marriage ministry is the Marriage Club.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty huge. Right now we have 138,000 followers and members in our Marriage Club group. It's pretty awesome, and she's the think tank behind it. So I'll let her speak a little bit.
Powerful.
You give me the mic, I'll just talk all night.
And it's okay. It's okay. So, but marriage is what we do.
Okay.
And that's our ministry. Definitely, we've been through so many different things, and we're able to help and to coach other couples into loving each other.
Yes.
So marriage is what we do. We believe in it wholeheartedly, and so we thank God for even choosing us in this season to represent Him in the earth.
Wow.
Amen.
I love it. Now, many that are out there married, some may have been married for 1 year, 20 years like you all, or maybe even 40 or 50 years. You know what they're going to say, Pastor Sonny? They're going to say, well, you know what? I'm married, I love this person, but we've gone through changes, we've gone through seasons, and perhaps the thrill, if you will, the excitement, maybe the relationship doesn't look like it used to look 5 or 10 years ago. You know, what does that mean? You're a woman of God, you're in a great marriage, obviously, you're a leader in a church and a community, but you know, real talk for real people, there are people saying, maybe this relationship is not what I bargained for.
So as far as growing, I always say grow together.
Okay.
You have to, you know, even as he grows, he challenges me to step my, game up.
Yes.
Because he really is brilliant. So I say he's not going to leave me behind.
Okay.
And I think it's such a team effort to be able to stand firm, because we all go through changes.
Yes.
We're always changing. God is always refining us. And so even as God is the glue that keeps us together, we just continue to go from glory to glory, from faith to faith. So I want to encourage you, hang in there, fight, continue loving each other. Never lose what you had in the beginning. I think that's the problem.
That's true. I was reading something in the book called Instinct by one of my homiletic heroes, Dr. T.D. Jakes, Pastor T.D. Jakes, and he says that we are a microwave society living in God's crock pot.
We are.
And it was so profound, because what happens is that we want things to change instantly. In your marriage, in any relationship that you're in, you can't expect instant change. Sometimes if you've been doing a thing for so many years, it becomes habitual. It takes, from a psychological perspective, that's kind of my thing. It takes 21 days to create a new habit.
Yes.
And those days are awkward. For my wife and I to build a closer relationship, we started doing this thing called date nights.
Okay. Wow.
Every Monday is dedicated to me and her dating each other, and we we dang near need a pardon from God to not have a date night. So she'll call me and be like, "Can I go?" "No, it's my date night. You can't go anywhere. It's my date night. I don't care if we go together. We're going together."
That's right.
So, and everybody in our church knows is if somebody's not dead or dying, don't call me. And if they dead, let me know when the funeral is. But we need to, I'm just kidding. I'm not being that cruel.
Oh my gosh.
Pray for me.
Yes.
But honestly, we are committed to spending that time together because we understand and recognize that in those hard times, you have to have something to pull from. You have to have a storage tank, a love tank, as you would say, to build from and to pull from. If you don't have anything stored up during the hard times, you're pulling from a deficit. And that's such it's like you're trying to build a relationship where you don't even relate to the person you're with. But if you've got that time in, if you spend some time, like we on a date night, we watching movies, we hanging out, this is my homie, this is my ace boon coon, this is the one I mean, this is my best friend. So in our hard times when I don't like her, which is about 2%, you know, I love her 98.8% of the time, which is a good number. You know, it's gone up.
It's real.
Come on, praise Thank you, Jesus.
That's real. That's real.
But about that 2% of the time when I can't stand her, I cipher from that love bank. From that tank of our experiences, from the smiles and the good times, from when she's been my best cheerleader. I remember one time, and we change in our relationships. That's the critical thing we have to recognize. Relationally, we change. We want something different on certain occasions. So you've got to steer the Titanic. You can't expect it to turn quickly. You've got to put in the work. At some point, I wanted her to be my best cheerleader. Before, we didn't care. You know, we're both singers. I didn't care if she liked my singing. We both sing. I didn't care if I sung to her or anything. But at some point, I was like, you know what? I want that. And she was like, wait a minute. You know, we've been married for 5, 6 years. How are you going to change up on me? But when I did, she started going overboard with it. Oh, my God. It was so awkward at first because she would cheer me on about everything. Baby, I'm about to go make some toast. Woo! Make some toast, baby. Woo, you're the best toast maker on the planet.
Smart woman.
And I'm like, serious? But after a while, it became natural. What was awkward became the new norm. After we put that time in and the investment, she became my #1 cheerleader, and now it comes seamless.
It's natural.
And it feels great to have somebody who backs me like that. Such a phenomenal woman in my corner.
You know, I want to talk about the time factor because you all have incorporated the concept of date night, right? And it's a popular slogan that I hear lots of individuals on television talk about. But let's keep it realistic too. There are those listening right now, looking at you all and saying, great, I want to do that, but I have kids and we don't have the money for a babysitter, or maybe we don't have the money to go to the nice Italian restaurant. What would you say to those who have the obligations of they're working a job, maybe they've gone back to school to try to get that degree, or hey, they've got 3 cute, adorable, but busy and active boys that someone has to be paid to keep or watch over?
Well, I would say just be intentional. If you have to be intentional. Find someone in your family that you can trust to watch your kids. I mean, we've done that. You could date for $10. You could date, absolutely. Go get a Redbox movie, get some popcorn, turn your fireplace on. I mean, $10. Get some hot dogs. It's just about the time that's spent.
Beautiful.
It is about the time that's spent, not how much you spend, but the time you spend together. So you have to be intentional.
Gotta be intentional. And you just have to push. You have to press. When we moved to Memphis, we were doing ministry in Memphis at one point. We didn't have any connections. We didn't have any family there. We didn't know anybody. I mean, we were in a strange land doing a strange work for the Lord. And our date night, you know, we didn't even know what it was called back then, but we would get some hot wings and some sweet bread, those little honey breads. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. And us and the kids would sit in front of a movie and really enjoy each other. And it built a closeness between us and even our children, because it's good for your kids. Listen to me. Look at me here. Look. It's good for your children to see you engage with your spouse.
Absolutely.
It's so hard for us as this new age of married folks, because we didn't come from a generation. I come from 3 generations of a fatherless home. So for us, it was a journey to even learn how to love each other. I had to learn, not from self-taught, because there wasn't a whole lot of people around me, but I had to kind of pick different pieces of things to learn how to be a good husband to this phenomenal woman who needed, and she came from a 2-parent home. So for me, it was like coming from a single mom, and I didn't know what the ideal dad was supposed to look like, what the ideal husband was supposed to look like, and it wasn't until later in life that I understood the resourcefulness of reading a book.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, man. People ask me, what am I reading nowadays? I said, what am I not?
Okay. So
what am I
always
not?
reading to enrich the mind and the soul. I want to touch on something you brought up. You had shared with us, obviously, that you came from a family where there was no father present.
Yes.
We have a lot of men, young and older men, and middle age watching right now. And maybe they had a dad in the home, but it wasn't the type of relationship it should have been, right? Because you can have a parent in the home, but they could be simply paying bills, in a sense, right?
That's true.
So, or maybe they didn't have the dad at all. And a lot of that, maybe there's some anger there's some resentment, maybe there's some denial of resentment, real life emotions that people go through. But then this young man or this middle-aged man or older gentleman says, I'm going to make a partnership reunion with this woman that I love. They marry, but just like what you so eloquently said, Pastor Sonny, they don't get what it does mean to be engaging with their spouse, their mate, because they never saw it. Or maybe they're thinking of something that's not a realistic idea of it, and maybe they're coming across overly aggressive. What would be your advice? You two have done it. You've done it well. You're the epitome of love in 2016. What would be your advice to that man that's looking right now? Because you know he wants to be macho and engaging and being nice and sweet. He doesn't want his son, you know, maybe to think that, hey, dad is not as tough as I thought he was.
Don't sleep on right connections. What I mean by that is that you've got to find some people to model yourself after.
Okay.
One of our biggest connections, we're connected to Dr. R.A. Vernon and Lady Vernon out of Ohio.
Okay.
The Word Church, that's our pastor, that's our mother and father in the ministry.
Yes.
And their relationship is the ideal relationship for us as it relates to our ministry.
Yes.
So we're connected to people who are connected to people who show us an example of how we should carry on.
So look for those examples.
Whenever we encounter them, whenever we're hanging out, the first thing, he doesn't ask me anything.
Okay.
It's like I'm not even there. He goes straight to her and says, hey, how's he treating you? And when I'm at my church and I see my partners, I say, hey,